Hello everyone, thank you all for coming. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Councilwoman Daisy Velez. Over the last 8 months, I have been working towards making Township a designated age-friendly community. You may be asking yourself, what is an age-friendly community? Well, Age-Friendly North Jersey is a network led by local philanthropies and the Rutgers School of Social Work, who are dedicated to making the communities where we live more equitable for aging residents through community leaders. Leaders like myself focus on creating community partnerships to improve physical environments, strengthen social supports, foster integrational connections, which you will get a peek at this evening, and so much more. Intergenerational, sorry. Over the summer, I had the pleasure of connecting with Kathy Kuzma, the director of North Jersey Villages, via the Age-Friendly Community. Together, we organized this event for you tonight to explore the village concept as part of Township's Age-Friendly initiative. And now I happily introduce to you Kathy Kuzma, who will share her wealth of knowledge with us tonight. Thank you.
I don't know about wealth of knowledge, but it's a passion for this movement. I think it's a great idea. In 2014, I was introduced to the Village Movement at a conference of senior service providers. I was very excited about the Village Membership Organization concept. It's neighbors helping neighbors age at home by making services and activities more available. I thought this concept might do really well in Bergen County, so I brought it home. Since 2015, North Jersey Villages has been functioning as a not-for-profit, totally volunteer organization with no membership fees, reaching out to all Bergen County seniors, those active as well as those seniors who are isolated, providing them with vital information about this village movement and how it improves the feasibility of your being able to age at home healthier, safer, more affordably, and most importantly, more enjoyably, you know? So, in addition to live and online presentations and recorded programs for local TV, like WCTV, North Jersey Villages maintains a robust website. The NJV website features a calendar of local live and online events that might be of interest to seniors. It also includes updates on and links to available state and local senior services. This weekly updated website would not be possible without 6 volunteers of all ages who have joined North Jersey Village's mission through the Volunteer Center of Bergen County. Before we continue tonight's program about North Jersey Villages and the Village Movement's mission, and you here in the Township, we would like to acknowledge one of NJV's volunteers by presenting Mary Hayes with the President's Volunteer Service Award. Mary, please come forward. Presenting the award is Janet Chen, a founding trustee of North Jersey Villages.
When joining NJV as a high school sophomore, Amiri wrote in his profile, "I believe in the concept of independent living and socially connecting models to support seniors. My grandmother is 87 and fiercely independent. I like the idea of supporting an organization like North Jersey Village that supports this approach to aging." And Amiri has been an outstanding support, working along with members of the NJV IT team and representing the intergenerational aspect of the village model of neighbor helping neighbor. He has volunteered 179 hours of service in 2021, thus earning the gold level the President's Volunteer Service Award. Congratulations, Amiri. award package includes a certificate, a letter from the president.
What president?
Biden, our current president, and a gold coin. And reading from the letter, just a portion of the letter from the president, the American story depends not on any one of us, not on some of us, but on all of us. I congratulate you on taking it upon yourself to contribute to the public good. And I'm proud to present you with the President's Gold Volunteer Service Award in recognition of your 179 hours of service to this great nation.
Oh.
This is the picture.
I was really glad to be able to volunteer at NJV. I learned a lot, and I think that it's great that I had the opportunity to provide something to this county and these people who have provided so much to me. So I just wanted to thank you. I want to thank you, Kathy. And I wanted to thank everybody who helped me learn how to manage the websites and aid the North Jersey villages and everywhere that I could. So, thank you.
Now let's continue with why you're here this evening. Councilwoman Daisy Velez, leading the Age-Friendly Township Initiative, and North Jersey Villages invited you tonight to explore the village concept. You have wonderful activities and services here in the township. The police and fire, the ambulance corps, a bus on some days, Golden Seniors, Bethany Community Center, the Knights of Columbus, educational and cultural programs here at the library, and so much more, and this is great. But there's probably a gap, just as there is in every town in Bergen County, because as we age and live in our homes or apartments, we realize that we have new needs. We can't do everything we did 10 years ago. The friends we had 10 years ago may have moved on. The tennis and golf we played 10 years ago may need to be replaced with other activities. You know what I mean. If you need a ride to a doctor for groceries or an evening event you saw in the Pascack Press or Community Life. If you are a caregiver who could use some time off. If you need a light bulb or smoke alarm battery changed, as we do in our house right now, or summer furniture moved indoors, or your leaves raked or simple repair in your home, who do you call? That's my new mantra. Who do you call? These may seem trivial, but when you live alone or your support group isn't nearby, who do you call? Let me ask you some questions, and I want you to raise your hands. If you sometimes need help doing things that you were once able to do by yourself.
Yeah.
Come on, get those hands
Of
up.
course.
All right, keep your hands up. Keep your hands up if you have family or a friend living nearby to help you.
Friend, did you say?
Yeah, family or friend who can help you. Okay. And keep your hand up if they are not available. Do you have someone to back them up? Someone else you can call? Oh, fewer and fewer hands, huh? Okay. The village concept provides an organized support and outreach so that if a neighbor who usually knows all about all the local service providers, who drives when you can't, or helps to get stuff done, but's not available today when you need them, another neighbor is available through an organized online system or a one-on-one phone call as part of the village model. How many of you are the neighbor that provides help to other neighbors? Okay. Now keep your hands up. How many of you are caregivers for a family member or a friend? Keep your hands up if you were helping. Okay? Now, all of you who have been helping others or are caregivers, keep your hands up. If you want to visit a family member or go on vacation, or if you have an accident or get ill, is there someone to back you up? One or two people who have planned it out. Okay. Basically, most of us don't have that backup. So today we're offering to close the gaps with a village concept where services you or your neighbor might need to age well in your community, those needs could be met by joining a membership organization that provides neighborly volunteers working together to create and grow a neighbor network to fill the gaps for each other. It's that simple. The village concept provides an opportunity for all seniors to be engaged, to be involved with a purpose, using their skills, sharing their time, and making new friends. The village concept provides assurance that help is available if and when you need it. And it relieves the stress of family members worried about you aging at home, because now you'll never be alone. How many of you know seniors who don't get out, but might be willing to make friendly phone calls, or be willing to update the member database on their home computer, or send out emails about interesting programs being aired on their local WCTV station, or be willing to designate a few hours a day, convenient for them, to receive service requests from members and match them up with a neighbor who could provide that service. So how many of you know seniors who don't go out but could be purposefully engaged? Setting up any of those tasks and others that are necessary for a successful and easy to manage neighbor network are all explained in a Village 101 toolkit. No one needs to reinvent the wheel to create this organization. The Village 101 toolkit is like a blueprint for building your virtual village, your neighbor network. That toolkit has been used for over 360 villages across the country. So, telling you right now, if a group of you want to start building, North Jersey Villages is very happy to help you study the blueprint and create your framework for this concept in the township. So we're going to take a short break now so that you can have some sandwiches and snacks. When you're back in your seats with your food, we're going to view a video about an existing village in Pasadena.
When I turned 80, I began to realize I was coming into the fourth quarter of my life. I knew that I needed to plan ahead to think about how to be my best self. And I knew that I couldn't do that just by getting older and playing more golf and sitting on the couch and watching television. So I got together with a bunch of my friends and I said, what can we do going forward in our lives to make our lives the best we can make them and the most creative and stay interesting?
And so we started meeting in our living room, and the options didn't look very attractive to any of us, and so we started to explore the idea of co-housing, which is a Danish concept of a group of people coming together intentionally and forming a group, designing, building, and then occupying a community of residents with common facilities. It turned out there was just anywhere near Pasadena that we could do this because the city was built out, basically. And we all sat around looking at each other. Our group had kind of grown a little bit. and saying, we don't really want to leave Pasadena. We don't want to go to the outskirts or into the desert or to another state. We love this town. One of our early members, Elsie Sadler, said, you know, I was just in Boston as part of her role as, I think, chairman of the Sophie Miller Foundation, which was attached to the Episcopal Communities and Services. They decided to spend some time with the Boston Beacon Hill Village. So she said, you know, you ought to look at this village idea. So we Googled it, and here we saw this group of people getting together in their own community to create a way for people to stay in their community as long as possible.
This is not a place, this is a concept. The village concept is to simply provide a means that elders can stay in their own home. That's the significant part of it, and enjoy all of the advantages they might have in a nice retirement home. And by that I mean all of the social activities.
Okay, so Thursday morning, you need a ride to Fair Oaks in California, right?
They've joined an organization that they can participate in. They're all part of it, and they can contribute and volunteer. And they can join groups of other people that have similar interests.
Oh, that is so beautiful.
And the research library is one of the largest independent research libraries in the country.
So all of those things make up the village concept.
As soon as we learned about the village, we started meeting on a regular basis every week. We'd have breakfast and just sit there around the breakfast table and talk about what are the pieces that we have to put on the table? How do we begin to get a board of people who will work together? We need somebody who's going to be good at computers, who can set up a website. And we'll need somebody who has experience with the medical aspects of aging. And we'll need somebody who's very good at doing the finances. And then we'll have to find a person who is willing to be a director with a very small office. If they have to give up their home, they don't want to have to go out to...
During that period, we also started having picnics. Once a month, we would get our little band together and invite people in that we thought might be interested in our village. And, 20 people would show up, and 3 or 4 would raise their hand and say, I'd like to come along on this ride. And some have become board members, and others have become members. And that reaching out became a part of our personality.
We'll be partnered with various organizations in Pasadena. We've already struck up partnerships with the Huntington Senior Care Network, the Senior Center, and there are so many agencies currently in place in Pasadena designed to provide services for seniors that we will be coordinating with them. We're not going to invent services. We're going to connect people to existing services.
It's been proven really that social support enriches your health and prolongs your life and makes your life more worth living. I'm going to be here too, but yeah, that's what we should do.
Outsourcing and services that are provided by the Senior Center.
They could still be in their home.
Probably Sierra Madre and like the PUSD districts, but also we got some people from La Cañada and some people from Arcadia. I don't think we're going to kick anybody out.
And so over the course of that year, we kind of began to form the committees that we were going to need to take care of membership development, fundraising, getting the programs right.
And I think we need to start with the hospital.
If you need a roof fixed, you get a referral.
Social activities.
The bride coming out here is still going to get chosen.
And those who could pay more would help to supplement.
Communications and outreach functions, all those needed volunteers and among us to take our little original band and expand that out into committees, and those all got working. The journey from our early days when Sue came on board to our grand opening, I think was probably about a year of 11 of us just rowing the boat hard so that when when we launched, we'd know what we were doing.
Good afternoon. Hey there.
We're 60 strong now. We opened for business on July 1 and we're 60 and growing. So would all the members raise their hands who are here, okay?
It makes little difference what our life journey has been up to this point, but the fact is we're all in it together. We're all getting older, and we all have the same needs and concerns as everybody else. And I think it's that common bond, that common interest that makes the village what it is.
The Board of Directors of Episcopal Communities and Services and the trustees of the Sophie Miller Foundation, which is our supporting organization, we are thrilled today to provide a sizable gift to the village that will sustain its executive director for the next year. That gift also includes an amount that will provide scholarship memberships and incidental services for people who otherwise could not afford to join the village. We would like to present a check in the amount of $130,000 to the Pasadena Village. Wishing you well, and knowing there's more to come next year. So build that membership. Congratulations.
And across the top in big letters, kind of, I'll help.
I do think that Pasadena is a good place to incubate these things. We're not too urban, we're established, we got all these things going on, and if you can't do it in Pasadena, you can't do it anywhere. That's how I feel.
The spectrum of services that we provide is quite varied, and it's all of the things that you can sort of picture that a person living in their home and unable to do some of the things that they used to do might require. And so that means, whether it's standing on a ladder and putting in a light bulb, or whether it's fixing a leaking faucet, or whether it's the cat's gone. She got out and I don't know how to find her.
I just think the idea that you have more friends that will be looking out for you, it's something that we can, I don't think anybody has too many friends.
With kids, as they get in their own lives or whatever, it's hard to get them to come do this or do that, where the Pasadena Village members would probably be there when you need them. Where that your kids, you'll have to say, okay, well, I need my medicine. Well, I'll pick it up, Mom, 2 days later, but I might need it today.
The only service I've taken advantage of when I needed information of where to find someone to fix a couple of broken windows. And surprisingly, 2 volunteers from the Pasadena Village organization came out and took care of removing the windows and taking them to the glass shop and recovering them and reinstalling them.
These are all of the problems that somebody faces, and oftentimes leads them to having to leave their home. And that's the very thing we want to be able to solve, is how to keep somebody in their home.
I like the idea of you only have to go to one place to get an answer. I hate going through those automated phone calls where you got to touch button 1 and then touch button 3 and then touch the star. With Pasadena Village, it's the one phone call. And you get a human being, which is marvelous.
There are different ways in which we can participate in the village. I think that there are times in which we just feel that this gives us the opportunity to give, to serve, and to be of help to other people.
If somebody in the village has gotten sick or broken a leg and is lying in bed, the village people can just volunteer to go and sit by their bed, talk to them, read to them. It gives them a sense of their significance of their lives.
And I have agreed to be a volunteer on the communications committee, and that has proven to be right in the area of which my career was built, which is advertising and promotion. And I've been able to make a contribution there.
For people who, for example, would like to have phone calls every day and to make sure that they're well, that's something they can volunteer. So whether it is giving or receiving, it goes both ways. They've joined an organization in which they can volunteer and which they can receive services comfortably.
To have someone your age talk to you about your computer is very different than having your 17-year-old grandnephew pick it up, do the thumbs, and give it back to you, and you still can't do it. But with our age group, when they take you through it, they do it 1, 2, 3, now you do it, which means when you leave, you can do it.
What happens when I, as a villager, go help one of my villager friends who needs something done? And the first experience was literally me going out to change light bulbs. And I did it, and when we went to say goodbye, the woman who had asked me over came over, gave me a hug, and she had tears in her eyes. And how moved she was that somebody would actually come over and help her out. And that'll make your day.
By asking for services, by needing something, you're actually providing a service to those who then have a chance to make a connection with you and to learn from you.
Being a member of the Pasadena Village has really given me sort of like out of my comfort zone, sort of like not just being afraid to reach out or afraid to meet people, So it has been very helpful to me that I am a member of the Pasadena Village.
When you're getting older and your friends are beginning to die and you're beginning to be worried about your health, there's lots of things that you need. But what you really need is someone who's going through that with you, so you're not alone.
We carry each other along, we ask each other the questions, we get the answers, but most of all, we keep moving. We keep going. And as we go, it's like the ragtag group that brings everybody along because they hear the music, they hear the laughter, they see them, they're colorful, and people want to be a part of that. And I think when you bring that joy, that sense of, aha, it's contagious.
Hey, hi Margaret, how are you?
Good to see you.
Great to see you.
The Pasadena Village program provides me with a whole environment, an emotional environment and an active community environment which will allow me to develop into a reasonably interesting older guy.
Okay, so now, as I said, you have two ways. First is you're going to give your input about developing this concept in the township. And so let's start with any questions or ideas that you have.
At any rate, my name is Maria. I know some of you I do not know. What I got from watching that video was it's a wonderful concept, but I feel as though this organization is an organization who needs leadership, correct?
Correct.
And so like any organization, you need people who are able to lead and to put this whole thing in place. What if you don't have those people? From what I think is that most of us are in the same boat, so to speak. But it seems as though we need people who are in that boat, steering it, and able to help those of us who cannot do changing a light bulb or whatever it may be. I can still change my light bulbs, but would I want to go to someone else's home to change their light bulb? I don't think I would feel comfortable about that. So things of that nature I'm concerned about.
Okay, so the leadership issue is yes, you wait for leadership to come forward in a grassroots effort, because that's what this is. And in your community, I'm sure there are many seniors, you know, the younger, older generation who have recently retired, who might have the time and the effort. Now, one of the things is that we suggest that you don't do it alone, that you find a partner and do it, you co-chair, okay? So your leadership. It's not one solid leadership. There are committees, there are different aspects of organizing. So it's not one head person, you know, kind of thing. And you have a group of people, of about 12 people, who work in pairs to make that village grow, to make that village move, to make it operate, okay? So, any other questions? Does that help at all?
How would you start something like that?
With meetings like this, where you bring out the people and you find people who come forward and say, I'd like to be part of that. So we'll have a series of these, and hopefully you will encourage other people that you know to come out at other meetings, and we might focus on a different aspect. Today, we're really focusing on volunteerism because we had Amiri with us, and that was fantastic. And, you know, so we're talking about that aspect of volunteering and being the leadership. So, but we'll look at other facets of the village movement. This is something that doesn't happen overnight, okay? But as I said to you, there's a Village 101 toolkit that has been used, and it's a sequence of steps, okay? And you do it slowly, and you do it right, so you build a good foundation.
What's the organizational framework? I mean, you know, somebody says Inc., some village something Inc., so is a profit, and you expect a bunch of people to get together on their own a priori and just do stuff. Do you have village people who come and organize people?
Right now, we're working with Glen Rock to develop the village, okay?
And you're all volunteers?
And we're all volunteers, okay? So, your question was basically, how do you,
what is the organizational chart?
Okay, so,
it's a bunch of people.
All right.
Who wants to be the leader?
So North Jersey Villages is a hub. What we're looking to do, picture an umbrella. We're looking to develop spoke villages. So we have Glen Rock, we have Washington Township, we have other towns that are interested in exploring the idea. So what we do is we give you the support in your first year as you develop, okay? You can share resources. We work out how you would like to work together, but basically you become your own village, okay? Under this hub and spoke model. There are other models within the village movement. Some are just standalone, or a faith-based organization, or a town will support the growth of a solitary village that's not part of a hub. A village is a village. There are no two villages that are alike, okay? So everyone comes from a different place. The initiative here was with age-friendly communities. So we became a hub because Bergen County has that age-friendly community initiative going on. And we thought this is a perfect outgrowth, as Daisy has indicated that she thinks it is as well. Any other questions? Because I have to stop me because I can go on and on.
Is CHOR a part of your organization or standalone?
CHOR is standalone.
Because they are.
Yes, they're phenomenal.
I never knew they existed
So-
until I was a caregiver. They are just.
What's that? Pre-COVID.
They just come to your house and do
Yeah,
repairs,
yes.
and you just give them a
Chores.
donation. Just like a group of 4 or 5 men that know how to do everything.
We have worked with them before the pandemic. We had an association, well, we worked with CHOR to try to bring services, so whenever we would get calls, we would refer them to CHOR. One of the things that, I don't know if you heard it in the thing, is that you don't duplicate what already exists. You only fill in the gaps of what isn't available. So I know, living here in Washington Township, that there's not a number I can call if I need to put that shower bar in. Although, I shouldn't say that Jim
does it.
Yeah,
They
I can
do.
call CHOR.
What?
I can call CHOR. There's a long waiting list
That's
because
the
in the
problem.
count, that's right.
That's the only thing.
So they will encourage, there is a video, actually, Exit 168 did an interview, and it's on our website, northjerseyvillages.org. There's an Exit 168 video, and Tess Tomasi from the county Senior Services Department talked about the importance of the village movement and how important it is as seniors live longer, right? And you have more needs, and that the government, whether it be the state or the county or the town, the municipality, will not have sufficient people or resources. As it is, the towns are sharing resources among each other.
Right, the township already has a group called the Golden Seniors.
Absolutely.
Have you reached out to them and talked to them or done anything with them?
Absolutely. So one of the things is North Jersey Villages was around for 2 years before we did anything, because what we did was we reached out to the Bergen County Senior Services, CHOR, Bergen Volunteers, all of the health, many of the health departments and all. We developed relationships with them so they understood that we were not here to replace them or think that they're not doing what they should be doing. We're here to augment what already exists and to help you find things that you don't even know exist. Like CHOR, like CHEER is another group, okay? For that aspect of, if you're sick and you need someone to come sit with you or help you get your medication, there are groups out there that you have no idea that exist. That's our role. That's the role of the village, is not only to provide, but to inform, to make these things more accessible, that they become part of that you can then share them with other people. So you've learned things here today. We learn something new every day, yes? Yeah. And we take that with us and we share it with our friends. That's what it's all about.
Could this actually turn into, instead of a Pasadena village, a Passaic Valley village, where it would encompass the 168 exit people? It's growing.
Janet, do you want to address that?
I don't know that much about it.
Okay, Terry's not here. So we have been working with the with something called the Upper Pascack Valley Village, okay? And it was 3 churches up in Park Ridge, Cliff Lake. Forgot where the third one is, but anyway, it's, so the 3 churches that wanted to start an Upper Pascack Valley Village. This was pre-COVID. We had not yet identified leadership, okay? So it kind of stood there. So I haven't said anything yet to Daisy, but my concept was that maybe we could include, so it's Emerson, they were like, I wish I had the list with me. It was from Emerson, it included Rivervale, it included Hillsdale, Washington Township, Oradell, Woodcliff Lake. There were like 7 or 8 towns that were part of that Upper Pascack Valley village concept. We haven't let go of it. I didn't want to invite, I could have sent out an email inviting the people that we had been working with previously, but I thought, you know what, this is a township event, I want to introduce this to you. I want you to take hold of it, make it your own kind of thing. And then when we know where you want to go with this, then we'll look to expand beyond geographically. Yes?
One of the questions I was going to ask you answered actually how many towns in the Pascagoula Valley are incorporated, because you have to understand Pasadena. You think the amount of people who are in Pasadena, and you think of a small town like this, 9,300. You're not going to have the same amount of seniors and middle-aged and young people. So I mean, the concept in this type of an area is very difficult to do. Very, very difficult.
Well,
we don't have enough
people
around even.
There are villages that are 25 people. There are villages that are 600 people. Out on Rhode Island, what do you call that? Going out, not Rhode Island,
Newport?
Cape. Out on the Cape.
Oh, Cape Cod?
There's a village that's 600 people.
Oh, I
Okay?
can.
So, but they do what they call neighborhoods, okay? So they're broken down. So just like the hub and spoke that we do, they consider themselves one village with neighborhoods. You know, so that's the way they do it. I would propose that you do Upper Pascagoula Valley Village, and that you would be one part of it. Maybe not a separate part, maybe they'll just be one village of all the town. Who knows? It's what you choose to do, what you think is best for your community.
They talked about membership in there where I believe maybe dues and everything, but if you know somebody in the community that needs help, would these members be willing to go out to someone else in your town?
It is a membership organization, because it's not for everybody, okay? Not everybody wants to go into somebody's house or car, or, you know, there's some people who will and some people who won't. It is a membership-based organization. There are villages that have no fees because they're supported by, say, a municipality or a county, or, you know, and, or a faith-based organization, okay? Very few of them, I'll be honest with you. There is a village right north of you in zip code 109 something. It Takes a Village, it's called. Their annual membership dues are $25. Basically, that's administration. They only provide one service, and that's rides. No, sorry, now they introduced a second one. They do friendly calls to people, checking in on them. But, so it's different in every community. And then you have places like Beacon Hill, where the annual dues, I think, are $960, but they provide, but don't forget, they're in apartments, they are in, it's a whole different lifestyle, it's a whole different community base.
I was the director or the president of an organization, and I wanted to have meetings in my home. They covered me to have meetings in my home.
Okay. As a hub, we carry insurance to cover the spoke villages until they're out of the development phase, which would be 1 or 2 years into exploring and setting up. Once you launch your village, you start looking at your own funding, how you're going to fund yourself, okay? But initially, the hub is helping you get through those initial things. Insurance is covered by the hub village, okay? So that's North Jersey villages. So we would help you to the point with, and we'll start helping you when you develop that group of 12 people, okay, to get started. So we'll identify those people and we'll work with you, all of you, not just the 12, but anyone who's interested in making this happen, okay? Whether you want to be in leadership or you just want to be part of the, you can be, keep giving your input because it's important.
When you talk about you cover insurance, and where does that money come from? And you said there was something like a $25 a year membership fee in some situations, and others it was
right.
600 or whatever.
That would come, those membership fees.
So once this organization takes root, the people that are in it pay a membership fee per year?
I would say if I was developing a village, okay, I would say have a volunteer do the leadership position and oversight, okay, of all the committees and stuff. The only positions I would pay is an IT person who would take care of your, because a lot of this is done online, right? And a call manager who would take care of the phone calls for services and fulfilling those needs with volunteers. Those are the two positions. They would be part-time, two part-time positions that I would pay so that you would have smooth operations. Those are the types of positions that, again, you find a benefactor, or you find, so the membership pays part of it, but then you start looking at grants, so you have the Age-Friendly Community Initiative grant with the Town Foundation. I, in fact, just spoke with Julia yesterday. She says there's no reason why some of the funding that you get can't go to pay a part of the cost of managing the village. We have a family foundation that has been supporting us from day one. It's called the Lewing Family Foundation. That's the family who's involved with Berkeley College. And Tim Lewing is on our board. And he has been phenomenal. Right now, because of during COVID, we did very little. We were doing a lot of lunch and learns and a lot of different programs and things prior to COVID. So our fund kind of built up a little bit. So we're in a position to support Glen Rock and to support another village, in their development. But we also have been scurrying to look at grants that are available with local banks and things like that. So that's what I do, and that's what somebody in your village would do as well. Okay, so that was, yeah.
I'm good.
You had some questions?
Actually, I just wanted to respond to the first woman who asked the question about changing the light bulbs, as an example. You would not have to do that. We would find someone else who really wanted to change somebody's light bulbs. My dad was an electrician. I know how to change a light bulb, so I would be the one, or one of the people would go out and do that. We would find something for you, or you would find something that you really enjoy doing, and that would be your contribution to the village. So whether it was calling somebody at home to make sure that they were safe, like the cheer program does, making sure that they took their medications, just a reminder. That's what, if you like that, you can do that. That would be great. You don't have to change a light bulb, you don't have to get on the ladder. I'll get on the ladder, it's okay.
So the phone system is something that's a cost. So when you're developing your village, you have to take that into consideration, right? Because the phone is very important. The computer, I mean, everybody has a computer, and there are ways of connecting that are not that costly, okay? But there is a platform that we use that you would connect to, that if you're with us, you'd be partially paid because you'd be under our platform. So these are the when I say the administrative expenses, there's something there that has to be to make this work.
So in terms of the volunteers, right now we have a younger group of volunteers that are making this happen right now through the Age-Friendly Initiative. But what I want you to understand is part of this is to bring in your individual blessings, right? What are you good at? Are you good at talking to somebody? Are you good at calling a friend? Are you good on the computer? Right? I know some of the volunteers that help us on public affairs who are great writers. So they work on anything that needs to be publicized, a press release. So everybody brings their own talent in terms of volunteerism. As Eddie said, we don't expect you to jump on a ladder and change a neighbor's light bulb, but maybe, your husband was is a retired electrician. Maybe he's comfortable doing that. So we bring our own little talents and what we did when we were working, active working adults to the concept, right? So, but I will tell you, there is some young blood that is ready to make this happen, right? Like myself and others that unfortunately weren't able to make it today, but they're ready to go once we see that the need is there. But that's why we're here, right? To make sure that the need is there, and this is something that we want to bring to the township.
Someone would say, okay, what can you do? Would you like to? Number one, do you want to do it at all?
Exactly.
Number one,
right?
do you want to do it at all? Number two, what can you bring?
Exactly. So that's why we have sheets to say, well, what are you good at? You know, maybe you like to sew or knit with your neighbor. And it just creates that opportunity for a senior to not be alone.
Well, what is your goal today? To see how many people want to be
So
part
our
of
goal
this?
is to see if this is something that interests our seniors, right?
I think the idea is very good.
Yeah, and we do, and that was one of the things when Kathy and I met this summer. I said to her, the library does fantastic things for our seniors. Jim Joyce is phenomenal with our seniors. DPW does bus transportation, right, to doctor's appointments, to supermarkets, but DPW is gone after 3 o'clock. So who are you calling if it's 6 p.m. and you ran out of medicine, but Walgreens is still open? Who are you calling? And that's where the village comes in and helps one another.
And I want to mention to you about Jim Joyce. One of the first things when we talked about having a meeting with the township, I said the first person we have to talk to is Jim Joyce, so he knows that we're not looking to compete with or to do anything, and he is fine. He is on board with what we're doing, and that we would not, we're not doing what the senior center.
And that's what this is
golden
about.
seniors. Golden seniors. So we're not doing, we're not doing anything.
Nobody knows everybody.
Yes, but see,
Yeah, I'm
that's
sorry.
the point. Like Kathy said, this is where we fill in. Some people don't know who Jim Joyce is. You're missing out on a great opportunity because he does so much for our golden seniors.
And Bethany Community Center.
Correct.
How many of you have been to Bethany Community Center? Raise your hand. One of the things that the Hub Village does is try to negotiate discounts with local services and local businesses. So that's one of the things we would work on. If you decide you'd like to work on this, we'll work on it. But until you come to a point where you say, this is where we want to go, and this is the direction we want to take, I'll wait.
Every village, as Kathy said, is different. So it depends what you guys want.
Right.
What do you need and what do you want from the village? And that's what you have to determine first.
Correct. We have to figure out what it is that our community needs and then go from there.
And
Right?
do you
This is the
intend
baby
to have
stages.
another meeting, like to talk more?
Oh,
about-
absolutely. I mean, Kathy and I are in communication often. So I'm learning. I'm learning as I go as well, right? But
At
it
all
starts
hours of the
somewhere.
morning.
It starts somewhere. And we don't have enough, I will say it, we don't have enough young people involved. And as somebody who has aging parents, I see their needs. And I know that I need to get involved. So if my parents need it, I know our community needs it, right? And that's why I'm here.
And I just wanted to let you know that the Pasadena video that you watched was done pre-COVID. So COVID has made us more aware of the need to reach out, but also more reluctant to reach out. And everybody's wondering when the next wave will come in, and everybody has some fear involved with that. We try to eliminate that if we can. So I have some questions for you. Raise your hand if you have ever volunteered for an organization. Keep your hands up if you are currently volunteering. Okay. And how has your volunteering changed since COVID?
They didn't want to come back to person.
Okay, so you have the people, you have the same people coming back?
They are coming back, yes.
Okay, that's great.
See, virtual is great because it keeps people connected, but the problem with that is you can't really see people's faces and see the concern that they have. See, I can look at your face and there's something there that says, I need to know more about this. If we were virtual, I wouldn't notice that. I wouldn't see it on a screen and it would get lost. But when we're meeting in person like this, we can grab that. We can find out what really matters to you, what's more important to you than something else. And that's what this is about as well. For those of you who would like to volunteer, raise your hand. If you'd be willing to drive friends or do errands or handiwork. Have a couple. If you were protected by a membership agreement and volunteer guidelines and training agreed to by all the members of the organization, would that make a difference for you? So if those of you who would like to volunteer, raise your hand if you'd be willing to volunteer 2 by 2 with a partner who could back you up and share the responsibility?
You're talking about driving?
Could be driving.
Yeah.
Doesn't.
Because there's certain things that I would do, but driving isn't one of them.
That's okay.
I mean, I have
That's-
other things that, you know.
Any volunteer, even in a leadership position or a thing, but if you're doing it two by two.
To call someone, to remind them, something like that, I
Good.
can do. I mean, I can change a light bulb.
Good. See, now I don't have to do it. You
I
can
can
do
do
it.
that, but I can't do the smoke alarm, so someone has to help me.
That's okay. We'll get someone who knows all about smoke alarms to help
So, I
out
mean,
with
it's
that.
just, I think everyone has their own things that they'll do or won't do.
And that's all that you would be,
yeah, it
yeah,
is.
the database, we talked about that somebody at home could be updating the database. That database says what you are interested in doing, what you're not interested in doing. The volunteerism is really very important, and that's why doing Amiri's award today was meaningful, because I wanted to focus on volunteerism today and say how it can be done without being taxing or, you know, totally difficult, that it could be actually building you up, giving you an opportunity to meet new people, giving you an opportunity to use skills that you thought were no longer useful, and make us feel good about ourselves, you know? And so that's what we call purposeful engagement or purposeful involvement. One of our other board members coined that expression, and I love it, because it's purposeful. It has a purpose. It has a reason. Let's get it done. So thanks, Eddie. The village model provides protection for members and volunteers and recommends volunteering 2x2 in the Village 101 toolkit. So Eddie talked about this membership agreement. So that's part of it. When you talk about why should it be a membership organization, even if you don't charge a fee, first of all, there are scholarships for people who can't afford the fee, but they can still be members, okay? So nobody would ever be left out in terms of, because they couldn't afford it. What fee? Whatever membership fee you would establish for your community, okay, but for your village, for your neighbor network. But the thing is that membership is important because it says we all agree, okay, that we understand there's certain things we can do, certain things we can't do, and we expect to be respected, we expect to be, you know, this whole thing, that it's a nice agreement. And if everyone signs it and everyone's in agreement on it, then you're in an organization that is doing what the village model is all about. Neighbors helping neighbors to age more successfully in place.
What happens if you have a member and then with time they are no longer able to do what they enjoy doing for the hub? Are they still a member that's receiving some kind of benefit?
Yes, because what your membership does is ensures that when you do need services, the organization is there for you. On an average, 50% of members are providing services and 50% are receiving services, okay? So, and as I said, but the homebound, there are lots of things that the homebound people can do behind the scenes, right? So even when you become, so there are things, and those things are important because it keeps them connected and still makes them feel useful, right? So not that we would push somebody to do it, it's just that we would always bring forth options, right? Okay, so remember that Village 101 toolkit, it's a blueprint of what has worked for other villages. It gives you a sequence to follow to build a neighbor network. But it does not make every village the same, and we talked about this before. The neighbor network in the township will be unique to filling the gaps and adding the services and activities you choose. Okay? So it's not going to replace chore, but it's going to say when chore can't do it, or there's too long a list, waiting list for chore, which there is. That's the problem. Yes. Then somebody here in the community, then you tune in to somebody in the community, right? You never go to replace what already exists. We help people to find it. This is what starts to build the foundation of what could be a village here in the township. Okay? It says, this is what I'm interested in. This is what I wouldn't do. This is who I am, how I want to be communicated with. This information goes no further than Daisy and North Jersey villages, okay? So that we can help you go in a direction that serves your community. So that you can create a neighbor network that's right for the township. Yes?
Is there a limitation on hours that, supposing you gave a caregiver support, what would be the amount of hours that you would have to?
Whatever limitations the person providing the service would put on it, I'm willing to give an hour or 2 hours to sit with somebody who needs, you know.
So you
would
put
give
your own,
correct.
what you're able to.
You would stipulate, right, and the hours that you're available.
Like the organizational chart, I saw in the advertisement, it says Villages Inc., Incorporated. So somewhere there's a for-profit involved.
No.
Somebody
No.
up at the top.
It's a not-for-profit.
Yeah,
We're a not-for-profit.
And so the Inc. group, so in other words, looking at organizational chart, you have Washington Township, a village.
We're incorporated as a not-for-profit. We're not incorporated as a for-profit. I'm the founding trustee, along with Janet and
Where's the headquarters of
Tim
the
Lewing.
Village Inc.? What's the headquarters? Where's the headquarters?
It has been Glen Rock, and then it was Berkeley College,
Oh,
which is our back office.
So this is a New Jersey thing?
It is a Bergen County. This is Bergen County. We're affiliated with the Village to Village Network, but none of our funding or anything comes from the Village to
Oh,
Village
so this
Network, which is
entity is
international.
within just Bergen County?
But North Jersey Villages is Bergen County only. It's really a lot simpler than it sounds, and with the Village 101 toolkit, you would see how the hub and spoke functions, and that there's no one way a hub and spoke functions. There are different hub and spokes throughout the United States, and each village decides. So even within North Jersey Villages as a hub, we could have one relationship with you, but a different relationship with Glen Rock. They could be self-sufficient in terms of providing their own services, and you would want to share services. That's how flexible it is.
But now that I have to have insurance, we
You
have to
would,
contribute to
you would not, we
insurance?
would
But
get
now you
insurance.
said in the beginning. But what happens if you
The
become?
organization, whatever village you would have insurance, not.
Well, right, but we would all have to put our money in to get enough money in there to have an insurance policy to cover the group.
That's
correct?
why the hub and spoke is a good, most hubs and spokes, that's one of the things that's always shared is insurance. So
Because that's gotta be very costly.
that's right, so that's one of the things, one of the reasons the hub and spoke was developed, is to share in that type of resource, that type of an expense.
Would it be only your fellow residents in this township, or would you be thinking about?
Right now, we're only talking about the township.
Because I would want the township, not
And
like
you could say
other
that, I will
towns.
only serve in township. You could say, I will only work on Ridgewood Road. And I say that because then you'd cover me too. I mean, should we be doing this?
Well,
Should we invest
I
time?
think it's a good idea.
Okay.
And I'll tell you, from someone who was thrown into being a caregiver, and the person was my partner, he didn't have sisters, didn't have children, he was totally alone, and I was the only person.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to find, and it was during COVID, I had to try to get in to visit him at Valley Hospital, which is like, I had to go to the tippy top.
Yeah, I'm
They
sorry.
They wouldn't let me, but he had dementia.
I'm sorry.
Which was honestly a nightmare, and I could have used help then.
And that's the
Someone
kind
just
of-
show me,
Yeah.
like, this is who you should talk to.
Those were the kind of questions I was
You
getting all
know,
through.
for a caregiver, when you're lost, you know.
Yeah.
Hoarders. A lot of hoarders around.
Order?
Hoarders.
H-O, you know, they have to show one.
Hoarders, yes. Hoarders. Well, you know, as a whole,
Also organizing, helping. Now, there might be some people who are really good and love to help people organize. But then there are people who need organization who absolutely don't want any help because they love living in their mess.
No. We do a lot of programs. We do programs on the importance of advanced care directives, the importance of the file of life. You're familiar with the file of life, that red thing that goes up on your refrigerator with information, okay, about your medical history, so that if something happens, you will get the best care immediately, right? Because they'll know exactly what you can and can't have, right? And make a copy of that and carry it with you. We do programs on having the conversation of your life with your family, letting them know what's important to you and what isn't, okay? I remember my mother-in-law, I used to take her for treatments to the hospital, and she would talk to me about, oh my goodness, my friend, she just got moved into the basement apartment in her children's home. She says, I would never want to live in a basement apartment. I look at her and I said, well, I don't think anybody would put you in a basement apartment. And none of us even had a basement apartment. And then she said, one of the other times she says to me, oh my gosh, that was a terrible funeral. They didn't even have her dressed right, you know? And they told her, and then I find out that my mother-in-law had gone to the funeral parlor and told them what room she wanted to be in. Well, when she died and we went to the funeral parlor and we went up the elevator and the guy says, oh no, I'm sorry, somebody's in that room, she can't have it. And we said, oh, that's a shame, you know, because she really specified that's where she wanted to be laid out. And the next day we came back and lo and behold, there she was, laid out in the room she wanted. But she had a way of, you know, of communicating what she wanted through the story. So if you can't have this conversation with your family about where you want, you know, how you want your last days to be, how you want to live, if you can't make those decisions for yourself, I think just talk about your friends and about other people and situations to convey to them what you like and don't like, kind of thing. Because I got her message loud and clear. But what was very important, interesting, is after she died, and we're sitting and going through her stuff, and I'm talking and I'm sharing with the family, her daughter and her 2 sons and another daughter-in-law, and I'm sharing with them all these things that she said, and none of them had any idea. Right. Because I was the one who was with her, was driving her to her doctor appointments, and I had the privilege of having that information.
So one of my friends that I worked with, and she actually mentored me in nursing years ago, she had to go to the funeral of her sister-in-law, who happened to be my next-door neighbor. I hadn't seen this woman in a long time, so we saw her at my neighbor's funeral. And I said, oh, geez, I really wanted to get to the wake. She said, oh, you didn't miss anything. She looked so dead. She said, if Esther would have known, she would have died. So I'm like, oh my God, I'm glad I didn't go. She goes, and her daughter was sitting right next to us. We walked out of the church from the service. And she said, I told her, don't you dare let them do me when I die. I'm going to go to Miller Plunk funeral. Don't you forget it. And she said, and I want you to do my hair. So this place was 3 hours away from where I live here in New Jersey. I used to live here. And I said, you know, well, let's get together. So about 2 months later, I'm getting ready to go up there to see her and have lunch and all this and have a great time with her and laugh some more about how dead Esther looked. But anyway, it turned out, son of a gun, she dropped dead. Like the day before I was going up there. I was so mad at her, you know. Anyway, so I get there to the wake, of course I went up anyway, you know, and she was laid out at Miller Plunk Funeral Home, and her daughter did her hair, and I want to tell you, she looked gorgeous. So now I'm up there, and they had people come up and speak, you know. And I mentioned, I looked at her and I said, look at how beautiful she looks. And this is what she said to me the last time I saw her 2 months ago. So you did a great job, everybody. And you know, you just never know when it's time for your time. But she made it clear what she wanted when she died, like your mother-in-law did.
Yeah, it's important. We have to create that network, we really do. And those isolated seniors, the ones who are not computer savvy, we really need to get them connected. We need to find ways to connect with them. The local TV station is certainly one way to do it.
Well, now that you mention it, we do have a scrolling bulletin board. We have this on the scrolling bulletin board, so if anybody has Optimum or Fios, it scrolls whenever there's not a program on. So it scrolls like every half hour. So when you have announcements, just send it to us, right, so that we could put it up and notify people that way, because I'm not on Facebook. And I hate Facebook and I hate social media. I will not go on. But I do watch TV.
So as long as we reach everybody in their own way, phone call, email, social media, website. I believe it might have also been on the electronic board in front of Town Hall. So we are, you know, we're working and getting better, and that's why your feedback is equally as important. Hey, maybe we could see it over here, posters along Fresh Grocer.
Any other ideas that you have?
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, they're very,
The nail place, the hair place,
so,
That whole little
the pizza place.
right? It takes a village. So,
It takes a village.
It takes a village.
Okay. She is.
Thank you for watching WCTV. I'm Emily Kratzer, one of the volunteers here at your all-volunteer station, WCTV.us. We are at Washington Township Public Library, and we've been really delighted to bring you this program about North Jersey villages and the programs it offers in a neighbor-to-neighbor way to supplement other programs that are available to senior citizens, again, making aging in place much more convenient for all of us.